We continue reading in the morning of the Arabian Nights. Morning readings of the Arabian Nights. Night 325. Morning now dawned as Scheherazade broke off from what she had been allowed to say. Then, when it was the 325th night, she continued, I have heard, O fortunate king, that when he recovered, he found the old woman shedding floods of tears for him, and in his distress he recited, How bitter is parting for lovers, what pleasure is theirs in union. May God unite all lovers and guide me who am in agony. The old lady grieved for him and told him, Sit here until I find out the news for you. I shall come back as fast as possible. To hear is to obey, he replied, and She then left him and went off. It was midday before she came back, and when she did, she told him, I think that you are going to die of grief, as you are not going to see your beloved again until you meet on the bridge to paradise. In the morning, the people in the house found that the window overlooking the garden had been pulled away. Zumurrud was missing. With her had gone a pair of saddlebags containing the Christian's gold, and when I got there I found the wali and a number of his men standing at the door. There is no might and no power except with God, the exalted, the omnipotent. When Ali Shar heard this, the light turned to darkness in his eyes. He despaired of life and was sure of death, weeping so bitterly that he fell down in a faint. Although he recovered his senses, love and parting had inflicted such damage on him that he fell gravely ill and had to stay at home. The old woman continued to fetch him doctors, provide him with drinks, and make broth for him for a whole year. At last he recovered his spirit, and recalling what had passed, he recited these lines. Cares have gathered round me, I am parted from my love, tears course down, my heart is burned. Passion is increased for one who finds no rest. Love, longing, and distress wear him away. My Lord, if there is a relief for suffering, grant it to me while there is still a spark of life. At the start of the second year, the old woman said to him, My son, this distress and sorrow of yours is not going to bring your beloved back. Get up, pull yourself together, and search through the lands for her, as you may hear some news of her. She continued to hearken and strengthen him until she restored his energy, after which she took him to the baths and gave him wine to drink and chicken to eat. She did this every day for a month, and when he had regained his strength, he set off on his travels and went on until he reached Zumurrud city. Here he came to the arena, sat down at the banquet, reached out to take some food. The people felt sorry for him and said, Don't take anything from this dish, young man, as everyone who eats from it comes to grief. Let me eat from it, Ali replied. They can do what they want with me. It may be that I will find rest from this troublesome life. He took his first mouthful, and it struck Zumurrud, who wanted to have him brought to her that he might be hungry. She said to herself, The proper thing for me to do is to let him eat his fill. As he started to eat, the people looked at him in astonishment, waiting to see what was going to happen to him. Then, when he had had enough, Zumurrud said to a number of her eunuchs, Go to that young man who is eating rice and bring him to me gently, telling him that the king wants a friendly word with him. To hear is to obey, they said, and going up to Ali, they stood before him and said, Master, please come to the king. But do not be worried. Ali agreed to this, and as he went with them. End of night 325. Read 3:25 on June 2nd. Any comment? No.